Welcome to another episode of Bros Banter. Today we're talking and not talking, or maybe talking, about different subjects that may or may not include Ukraine or Russia. Because I don't want to talk about Ukraine and Russia. Louis David's hell-bent on talking about Russia. So honestly, fucking game on. Why? Tell me why I should listen to another fucking narrative or opinion about Russia when everybody, on fucking LinkedIn, I'm getting like photos of hot Ukrainian soldiers going like, these women are out there fighting, and I'm going like, what is this? It's no longer real news.
So that's what we're calling it. Pornhub is now LinkedIn.
No, man, it's not. Fuck you.
Okay, so the reason why we can't not talk about Russia or Ukraine, it's because it's affecting the markets so much currently. Sadly, it's taken over the COVID narrative, and now it is the Ukraine narrative. And it's touching, or at least everyone is hell-bent on showing how this, let's call it intervention, or some people call it a war.
Insurrection, invasion,
whatever.
Anything that's in.
It's touching apparently everything in our lives. It's touching oil. I got in an argument this weekend that it's with a guy that he's saying it's gonna touch the wheat market. I mean, the wheat market.
Aren't we like the world's largest supplier and producer of wheat?
It doesn't matter. They sell 25%. And apparently that number is gonna change the whole wheat game in Canada. Again,
what a good timing to do an increase on wheat-based products, and use all of that for a great And I'm not saying it's an excuse, but I just feel that every time it's like inflation has gone completely to the wayside. Now it's just like everything is going to be like, it's not an inflation, it's the Ukraine situation. Before that, it was the COVID situation. It's like, okay. It's like it's a fucking dog catching goddamn news, and then people going like, and the central bank, let's print more money.
Well, it's you got conflicting narratives here, and some of these narratives are bad for regular Joe or regular Sally. Now, regular Joe, regular Sally, inflation is totally just fucking them currently. Gas prices are up, food prices are up. I mean, anything's up. Regardless what you want to buy, you're paying at least, I'd say 10% to maybe 15% more than you were a year or a year and a half ago. So they're feeling the pain. But instead of actually tackling these issues, at first it was COVID's fault. But now, like I said, instead of tackling the issues, we're just saying now it's this thing going on with Ukraine and Russia. That's what we have to blame currently. But what people are talking about are solutions. So it's just easier to find a competing narrative and have that, take the blame of the current situation that we're all living through, which is inflation.
I find it's just really frustrating because, and I don't want to sound callous. I don't want to sound like I don't care, because I do care. But are we like, according to the news cycle, the only conflict right now on the whole planet is happening in Ukraine. That's it. It's not like we're not hearing about what's going on in Afghanistan with the new Taliban, the friendly Taliban regime. We don't hear about that. Nope. We don't hear about, wasn't there a big civil war in Syria? That's over, right? They fixed it. There was handshake and everybody's happy. I'm pretty sure there's a couple of guerrilla wars happening somewhere in Africa, because there's always a couple of guerrilla wars happening in Africa. Where else? No, the world is at peace. Oh, wasn't there also a Chinese genocide recently? Oh, no, that's okay. Let's focus on Ukraine and Russia and let's focus on the president of Ukraine. Like there's wonderful shots of him. And I'm not saying that he's not in front of a binding situation. He's not this, but they're like complete, like it's almost like Instagram quality photos of him and his soldiers. And it's like propaganda trying to sell me. What are you doing?
He is an actor. He was I think it was 17 movies, or at least 17 movies and TV series that he's participated in before becoming president of the country.
Didn't he play a president in one of them?
Yes, he did. He did, oddly enough. But again, like I said, it's just we have bigger society problems currently, and instead of taking them on, what we're doing is we're just finding something else that we can actually put the blame on, which is a bit sad. Because inflation, like I mentioned, is really going to ruin a lot of lives as interest rates. Again, Canada today, they snuck in an interest rate hike. They snuck it in. Why? Because nobody's looking there. Right, left hand's doing something, right hand's doing something else. And that's why I have a hard time not talking about Ukraine and Russia, because it's affecting everything. It's playing an important role in everything.
But is it really? Besides the like that's the thing. Okay, we have to realize, yes, there are. We break it down. Okay, there's the financial world, the S&P, the Dow Jones, all that, all these companies. At this point, I think it's clear to show that you can use algos, you can use you can say it's all quantifiable and we can do mathematics. No, it's all emotion based, because we're focusing on Ukraine, and then we're explaining every little thing that happens on this conflict, like we used everything that happened to the market on COVID.
Well, it's nuts. Like, what was it? And again, we touched, like, I think on our first podcast when we were talking about censorship, we touched on the topic. I mean, now they're even censoring Russian media outlets. Why? I mean, again, because everyone's trying to push their narrative to fit the situation that's currently going. Now, it's totally nuts. Again, I can't even make heads or tails out of it, because the markets are moving for reasons that... So the markets were originally supposed to crash because of inflation, because of rate hikes that are coming. Now markets crashing because of Russia. But is it really? We don't know. Because we don't know which narrative is actually causing the social impacts or economic impacts that we're currently seeing. So it's a total mess right now. And if I'm an investor, like, I don't even know how to make heads or tails of it. It's tough. It's tough. And that's why I go back every week to saying to everyone, find discounts, find deals, invest in those deals. And that's a sure way to have your investments make sense. If you're acting on discounts or deals, because fundamentals right now, I mean, yes, they're good, but there's just so much emotion, like you just said, in the market that we don't know what's moving what. Is it people freaking out at home because Ukrainian people are dying in the streets? Or is it because Russia has such a big role as an oil producer worldwide? Is that the reason why oil prices are high? Is that why I'm almost paying $1.70 here?
Bro, $1.71.
There you go.
And if you want to get the premium, it's $1.99. It didn't hit the $2 because that'd be a psychological barrier.
So is that the reason? We don't know.
Apparently, it's the reason for everything. And how much actual petrol do we fucking buy from Russia and Ukraine?
Apparently, a lot more than we thought. Apparently.
From whom?
Apparently, doesn't matter.
I want sources. God damn it, give me sources.
So this is the thing.
That is not Reddit, not Facebook. That is not. I'm expecting Tinder to start doing Tinder news.
They should if they're going to be unbiased, because if you're looking for news, you only have Western news that apparently is right on everything. Western news knows everything, cannot make any mistakes. That's the narrative that's being pushed right now. So let's not listen to Russian news, because God forbid if they said something completely nuts, we'd be too dumb to know that it's probably propaganda. We would miss the point. We'd be too dumb. We'd just be like, oh my God, Russia really is ruling the world. That makes sense to me. We'd buy into it. We're just that dumb, apparently.
It's just, but you said it's like the narrative. So what do I do? I've got, right now, I'm sitting at home. I've got my computer. I want to place a trade. Do I trade with this or do I go completely out?
So here's a trade that I did yesterday, okay? And I'm not saying, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just some dude doing a podcast right now telling you guys what I like to do. And what I like to do is to find deals. So I was looking yesterday at the Russian ETFs, exchange traded funds. All right, they're pretty much like a mashup of a bunch of stocks from that market. Now I was looking at some of them, and they got hammered as tariffs are coming down from the U.S. and countries across the world. They have been getting slammed. So when I see something getting slammed, to me, it looks like a deal. If something goes from $30 all the way to $5, you bet your ass I'm buying. And that's what I did. I bought some Russian ETF options.
You fucking asshole. You're supporting
There you go.
the Russian economy, which is not comprised of actual people. It is just, Russia is comprised of one person, it's Vladimir Putin, and
One guy.
One guy. You're not supporting all the economic.
I know that it's not a popular narrative, by the way. I know that some people might say, hey, you're supporting Russia. You know who I'm supporting? I'm supporting my bank wallet. That's all I'm supporting. Because we touched on it. Inflation, things are more expensive, gas prices, unaffordable. I mean, would it be wrong for me to want to take advantage of a situation and, God forbid, make money for myself out of this situation? I mean,
how could you do that? Are you really that type of person that would be like a major company that's taking advantage of a current situation to hike up its prices for no absolute reason, just for the benefit of itself and its shareholders?
companies don't do that.
No, companies don't do that. That's
What I
insane.
saw yesterday, I think I saw Chevron, which is a huge oil producer, is buying back shares with cheap money that's being printed out by the Fed. But they're buying back shares. But God forbid that I would invest in the Russian market to bounce back and make some money. Again,
I'm actually thinking about buying rubles because I hear that in wintertime you can stuff your coat with it because it's really it keeps you warm.
It probably wouldn't be a bad trade. The ruble is so cheap right now. But again, if oil prices are so high currently across the world, and Russia is the third biggest oil producer in the world, and apparently everyone just buys only from Russia, then you would think that coming out of this, the ruble would sort of get a bump upward. But again, you'd be supporting Russia, so that would make you inherently evil.
Okay. But if I wanted to buy oil from Venezuela, that's okay now?
I think the U.S. would say that you're still evil.
Oh. If I wanted to buy oil from other countries in the South Arabia, it depends on the country.
It depends on the day.
Oh, okay.
If you buy it on a day where
It's all cool.
then you're a good person. If you don't, you're evil. Going to hell. You're supporting Middle Eastern terrorists.
We joke, but that's the thing is we joke, but it's literally like that. It is like I have a hard time not comparing apple and oranges, but but in my mind it's apples and apples in the sense that just because when the U.S. invaded Iraq, it was like, what was it? Oh, it's to bring I'm gonna do my W. It's to bring freedom and democracy to the people over there. That's why we're going in. It's not to see if there's any oil prospects.
You are the decider.
I am the decider. It's like, come on, man. It's like that whole narrative was all about, there's there's weapons of mass destruction. They never found any. So they justified walking into a country, which the UN was opposed to. And guess what? The United States back then did, UN, fuck you.
Well, yeah.
But they were okay because they're
whole,
bringing democracy.
Again, that's a whole different story. But at the end of the day, regardless the issue, I would hope that people would take care of their own financial wealth instead of looking back at these social international issues and stopping them from making sound decisions like investing in companies that have a high potential of upside.
If you're really passionate about shit, man, okay, give some money. Give some money to the Red Cross. Like, find those social groups out there that are actually, that's what they do. They're all about aid, international aid, and give your money to give some money to them. But God, I'm just so fed up of hearing. That's why, like I say, I don't want to talk about Ukraine, because I'm just another jackass. But that's the thing. We're not spouting. I'm not saying I'm pro. I'm not saying against. We're just looking at the reality of it in what it means in the financial terms. But there's so many people out there just going like, Russia bad, Ukraine good. And it's like, we live in a society that we have to have polarized opinion. COVID, vaccine good, vaccine bad. It's like, it's honestly, if there's a movie to watch, I think everybody should watch, is Idiocracy, because I have a feeling we're going in that direction where we're just going to be binary, polar opposites of idiots spouting and literally just going there and be like, you know, just saying one thing, not even trying to listen, not even trying to get informed. Like, because let's face it, who reads the fucking newspapers? No more. Most people get their news from where? Valid, trusting sources such as Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. All those are world renowned for their journalist qualities.
Well, like I said, it's a mess out there. But
okay, so let's talk about something else.
oh, actually, no.
Fuck off.
No, yesterday, Joe Biden, State of Union.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what made me laugh about it. I planned it in my schedule. I got to listen to Joe Biden's State of the Union because I wanted to see what America has to say. I wanted to hear it straight out of the horse's mouth from the president, the man, the decider, or the new decider, because that's W's title. To Sleepy Joe. I wanted to listen to Sleepy Joe. He was very awake.
Yeah,
very awake. It was actually pretty good. But to me, it sounded like a victory speech. We're doing this for democracy. We're doing this for freedom in the world. And it sounded like America was saving Ukraine. But what he didn't say, and this is the resounding opinion throughout the whole State of the Union speeches, he didn't say how he was going to solve inflation, how he was going to
He
solve...
said he was going to fight it.
Yeah,
So I'm thinking Joe is going to strip down to his boxing shorts, put on a couple old leather gloves, and bring on inflation into a big ring, and he's going to be like, "Come on, you bastard! I'm taking you on."
But what's so touching back on oil, and this is what I got back from the speech. He mentioned that high gas prices at the pump. So he recognizes that Americans, even Canadians, are paying super high prices to put gas in their cars. Now, Joe Biden's policy coming into the presidency, all about moving away from fossil fuels, all about less, just cleaner energy, clean energy sources. And now look at where they are. They've shut down a lot of sites throughout the U.S. that were producing oil. And now what's going on? They're buying their oil from Russia. And the sanctions, the sanctions that were going to go be the end-all, be-all, we're going to send Russia back to the Stone Age. Well, the sanction are energy is not included. So there is no sanction on oil.
So you're telling me that are you telling me that this is yet again coup de théâtre? It's a little bit of theater.
Yes.
Why would he do that? Why would he say, "Oh, I'm going to win this. We're doing this for freedom. By the way, we're still buying our oil from Russia." But it's okay.
And this is what's even funnier, okay? Again, Sleepy Joe. So
I just want to stipulate one thing. I don't think any other president would have done it differently.
Trump would have probably did it this differently.
Absolutely, he would have been on board and be like, I know Vlad. Vlad's a good friend.
He did.
I know Vlad's a good friend. He's misunderstood. Tremendous man. I saw him ride a bear. I've never seen that in my life.
So he was on an interview. I can't remember the host, but he was on an interview, I think last week or early this week. And he mentioned that when he was president, so first of all, he goes on saying 4 years in power, no wars. No wars happened, kept America safe, no people dying across the world. You know,
Sorry.
The only president in the last 12 years, no war. That was all me, all Trump. Markets were incredible, highest they've ever been, never been higher. And he mentioned that, so he once sat down with Putin, his buddy, his pal. And Putin told him that he wanted Ukraine. Putin told him, and Trump told him, he said, and you can find this interview either on Rumble or YouTube. Trump says, well, Putin told him, he said, I want Ukraine, Donnie. And Donnie looked at him and he said, you can't do it. You can't do it, Putin. You can't go there. And he didn't. And Donnie is saying that because Putin knew that Donnie was strong. He wasn't Sleepy Joe. And that's all because of him. And you know what? It's so funny, but it could be true. And this is the thing that's why I personally miss Donald Trump. Because one, very entertaining. Mm-hmm. And two, I mean, the stuff that comes out of his mouth, you think to yourself, you're like, why would you ever say that? Unless it was true? Which is even more, I mean,
There's a level of retardedness to Trump that he might actually have said that. And then, it's just ridiculous. But he might have said that. Now, I'm not saying that Putin would have ever listened to that guy. But, at the same time, it's just going like, yeah, he could have said that. Is that the reason why it didn't happen during Trump? Absolutely not. I think Putin was biding his time and just getting ready.
Was he biding his time because he knew that Biden was coming? That's the narrative that's being pushed out as there from obviously the right-wing media there. Right-wing Western media saying that, that's what Trump was there. Putin was afraid of Trump because Trump was strong. Now Biden comes into power. Putin does respect Biden. He is coming out of Afghanistan, was a total,
show of weakness.
Show of weakness with China. So, but apparently Donnie had it all under control. Maybe he did. Who am I? Maybe he did.
But what about all the other countries that are around Russia? I don't know. Like, I don't hear anybody from, we don't hear anything from France very much. We don't hear England saying anything very much. They put their sanction. Like, let's be honest. We're not talking about Ukraine, but let's be honest. They put their sanctions, and they decide to take a huge step back, because there's this mentality in Europe. Because let's face it, European countries have been at war ever since they decided to start making countries.
That's true.
That's like
historically.
And look, it's not history. History is history. They've been like, there was 100-year war between France and England. Can you imagine France and England at war? It's got to be like the saddest war in the face of the world. It's like they got at war for 100 years. They kind of forgot they were at war at a certain point.
I stand with France today. Or maybe I stand with England. Jeez, it's getting confusing. I stand with humanity.
Yeah, exactly.
How about that?
So, but everybody's like, Europe has always been at war with each other. Oh, but now it's just a big war now. It's a big war. Is it really a big war? It's an invasion. Yes.
It's not a war. It's not a war because it doesn't have it's Russia going into Ukraine, which is not included in NATO. It's a tricky situation. I'll admit that, but at the end of the day, it's not as big as what it's being made out to be. To be honest, it's not. This is not World War III, by the way. And that's why I think the speech from the State of Union from Biden yesterday was a little bit sad, because he's saying that we got these sanctions in place, again, not on oil-based, not on the energy sector, but everything else. And we're doing everything we can to help Russia. We're sending
help
equipment to help Ukraine.
It's
Yeah,
hard to follow.
God forbid help Russia. But
Well, maybe in 2 weeks.
yeah, but to help Ukraine, we're sending weapons, helmets, supplies, no boots on the ground, and no air support. And this is what sort of Ukraine's complaining about. But America's smart. They don't want to get into a war. Because if America has boots on the ground, or if American jet pilot just flies across, that's a war, baby. That's
that's all.
That is officially World War III starting. Nobody wants that. Nobody's going to go there. So we're hoping the sanctions will deter anything. But
yeah, but bro, man, Russia's got nukes.
yeah, everybody's got nukes. I shared a post from Jim Cramer on MSNBC this morning. He says it because one of the guys in the background says, "But Jim, he's got nukes," and Jim just looks at him and says, "Everybody's got nukes." I mean, Belarus. What is it? Is it Belarus?
Belarusia, yeah.
Yeah, Belarus just got a nuke program back. They all voted, unanimous vote, by another guy that's been in power for what, 12, 15, almost 20 years? Great democracy there. When your president's there for more than 12 years, that screams democracy to me. But are we standing with them today? It's confusing. It's all confusing. And like I said, going back to the markets, find deals. Find deals. Out of every situation comes opportunity. Forget what people say. Forget the judgments. Take care of your wallet. Make some money off of this, because you're not making money off of death, by the way. You're making money off of just a situation that's would have happened no matter what. And it's happening elsewhere around the world.
Bro, I disagree. There is, you know what? There is money to be made with the MOD, the Merchants of Death. There is something. There's a lot of money to be made. So if you really want to be like a complete amoral asshole, and realize that you live in a world that there is inherent conflict, not popular opinion, but it's the truth. I love how the truth is not a popular opinion, but it's the truth. There are wars all over the place. So if you want to invest in something, find yourself a junior company or a mid-sized company that's doing technological advancement and anything related to the industrial military complex. Hell, if there are companies that are making walls,
Palantir.
Walls that are making walls that are that collapse in a safe way for infrastructure, get into it. It's like, that's the truth. But check your social opinions out of your wallet, because you don't make money with your social opinions.
No, you don't. You don't.
Like,
you don't.
And let's talk about fucking social opinion, because now I'm pissed off. You know what? How many fucking people wear goddamn Nike shoes? How many people wear clothing, anything that's made in Bangladesh, that's made in India, that's made it's child labor.
What's minimum salary there?
I don't fucking know, but it's dirt fucking nothing. It's like, what, $2 a fucking day? And but no, we're not fucking going against India going like, hey,
I
guys.
think you're generous with $2 a day. I think you're wildly generous. But the point is,
I don't know, fucking a shish kebab and a Coca-Cola.
The point is, I mean, it's and again, if I go back to censorship, this is why it's great not to have censorship, because you need to see opinions from every side that you can get them, because it's through your values as a person that you are, and through how you were brought up in the country that you were brought up. If you get all these conflicting views, these conflicting opinions, you will find the ones that suit all these values that you have, and you'll make the right choice. But again, whether you're making a choice, think of your wallet, because times are tough. Inflation is something that's very real. It's hurting everyone. Canada raised its rate today, and it is what it is. Prices are still high, so you better think about your wallet.
Yeah, $1.71 at the pump. Beef keeps on increasing. Everything's increasing. So like, it always sounds super selfish to say, but you're going like, oh, I'm going to think about myself. I'm going to think about myself. Well, I think it's the truth. Think about your well-being. And like I said earlier, if you feel like you want to contribute to a positive thing and you feel that there's tons of people that need help, either in Ukraine, in Yemen, or in any war-torn country that is happening right now, then give some of your money to Doctors Without Borders, to actual stuff. And for God's sake, who I like? Ricky Gervais said it the best when he was hosting the Golden Globes. He said to the actors, how about you do it proper? Come and pick up your little statue, your little gift, and say thank you. Say thank you to your God, and keep your fucking opinions to yourself because you don't know fuck all. And that's the truth.
I would have to agree.
That's the truth. Like, I don't need to see a star or see somebody. I will listen to somebody that's from there tell me their plight. But the last thing I got to do is fucking start spouting to them or to other people. You don't know the problems and the pain and the hardship they're going. Neither do you, motherfucker. Like, from the comfort of your house and your iPhone and your podcast equipment, shut your fucking trap.
It's tough, and it's tough. You can't, and this is the thing. If you're taking up a social cause like this one, like the one in Ukraine, well, that means you got to take up all of them. You can't pick and choose which one suits you, because the narrative or what you're seeing on the news, you got to be against all of them. So if you're against war, you're against war. No matter where it is in the world, no matter what you hear that has to do with injustice, you speak out. So I'm expecting if that's the view that these people have, well, I mean, I'm hoping that every month they're going to change the flag on their Facebook picture that they're putting up currently that they have with Ukraine. Put it up with every single other country you see, because then it's not you're standing with that country, you're just standing against war. And that's okay to have that opinion. I like that opinion. But you can't pick and choose. You can't pick and choose which cause outrages you more than the other.
And you know what? If you want to pick up something that's close to home, inflation. Inflation's here. Guess what? Tons of people fucking don't have enough money.
Food banks.
Food banks give food. You want to be outraged about something? Be outraged at the fact that you live in Canada, United States, in a premier country where you're listening to two assholes because you have the leisure of doing that. You're not killing for your food. You're not scrounging for your food. You're actually even thinking about investing. Then do something and to help local food banks, help local families, help local businesses. That's actually a cause that you have immediate impact, because right now, Montreal, one of the coldest winters we've had, and tons of people fucking freezing to death. But we don't hear about that. We're just coming out of COVID. Did we hear about all the physical abuse, spousal abuse, psychological trauma? Oh, no. Let's go look at what's going on in Ukraine instead of looking at the dilemmas that we've had here, that you have in your own backyard. Because you know what? It's fucking clickbait.
Yep. And on that, I will say, chicka, chicka, yeah. We'll catch you guys next time.